Welcome to Dodgers Daily Down on the Farm. So glad that you decided to tune in. And man, we haven't had one of these in a while. So get some popcorn, sit down. We've got, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 players that we're going to cover today. Patrick Copen, Charles Davlin, Mike Sirota, Joindry Vargas, AJ Soldier, Cole Irvin had a great start the other day. Brock Stewart in his rehab, Ronan Cop in his comeback trying to locate the strike zone more consistently. Brooks Auger had a really good start for Great Lakes the other day. Davis Chastain, Eduardo Quintero looks like he's ready to get off the mat and get his 2026 started. And Cam Day. So you're seeing right here, this is Brock Stewart, of course. Brock Stewart put his second rehab outing in the books this weekend in Oklahoma City, actually on Friday night, 4th overall. He had two rehabs at Ontario. Now he's had two with AAA Oklahoma City. 1 inning for Brock Stewart, 2 hits, no runs, 2 strikeouts, and 1 walk. His four-seam sat 95.9. That's a touch lower, but still very good for Brock Stewart, sitting 95.9. And the spin rate on his fastball is elite, right at 2,500. So the spin rate is right at 2,500. That makes that pitch just an incredibly good pitch in terms of metrics. Strike throwing metrics were perfect for his four-seam. He was in zone with that pitch at 60%. And his one pitch he threw as a first pitch fastball was thrown for a strike. Sinker left a little bit to be desired. Velo was down a little bit on it, and he was only in the zone for 33%. So the balls that moved late, he's still having trouble commanding as far as getting them in the strike zone. But because of the late movement, there's give and take. The late movement makes it harder to land as a strike, or keep it in the zone, I should say, not make it to be a strike. Keep it in the zone. Late movement makes that harder to do, but it also creates more chase. So while a sinker wasn't in the zone as much, it did get 50% chase. And so obviously a sinker was close enough to the zone. The pitches were competitive enough to get hitters to chase that pitch. And so because of it, although he only threw 33% strikes, it's in terms of being in zone with the sinker, that sinker ended up a strike overall, because when you add the chase to it, 67% of the time. So all that just in 1 inning, so take that with a grain of salt, no doubt about that. But I think definitely a very positive, very good inning there for Brock Stewart in his 4th rehab outing, the second one with AAA Oklahoma City. So I wanted to make sure and cover him at the very beginning of this show and get you updated on exactly his progress to this point. And another guy, hey, Quad A depth. This is a guy that I think if he did come and help the Dodgers, he would be up, and then he would probably get DFA'd and he would be out. And this is left-hander Cole Irvin. Really good start for AAA Oklahoma City over the weekend. 6 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs, 1 strikeout, 3 walks. Heavy on the sinker only about 90. So you're talking about typical crafty lefty type stuff. Going to have to miss barrels, going to have to move the ball. Not necessarily geared towards missing bats, more about just creating soft contact. And he definitely did that. He only had 14 whiffs on the night in 81 pitches, which kind of goes to show. I mean, that's not excessively low, but it's also not extremely high. But that just goes to show you it's not about getting whiffs. It's not about missing bats. It's about missing barrels and being a professional executor, if you will. And that's exactly what Cole Irvin was. Matter of fact, first time through, he was heavy sinker cutter. And then the third time through, he went sinker changeup. So he actually changed his game plan, getting through the lineup 3 different times through the lineup. And it's just kind of, just being able to do that, being able to miss barrels, being mature enough to do that, changing what your third pitch is the third time through. That just kind of screams, I know who I am in terms of that performance. And so if that's how Cole Irvin's going to get back to the major leagues, not try to reinvent himself, but literally just try to become the best version of what he is capable of being right now. And he definitely did that in his start over the weekend. And you talk about a guy who is still searching for his best version, Ronan Cop. Ronan Cop, hey, we mentioned he had the 17 walks in about, 10 or 11 innings. And the last time we talked about him, Cop threw a scoreless inning over the weekend for AAA Oklahoma City, and now Ronan's gone scoreless in 3 outings in a row. The four-seam slider combo is really good. Strike throwing was better. First pitch strikes on the fastball, again, matter of fact, were 67%. So very good that he threw first pitch strike with his fastball at almost a 70% clip. So that's very good. And overall, his fastball was in the zone 57%, and 60% really is that mark that you want to hit. So very, very, very close in the strike throwing metrics for Ronan Cop in his last outing, no doubt about that. And so he was in zone a lot better. So really no issues there. He did not get any chases on his fastball, which tells you that he's either throwing the fastball for a strike or the fastball is a ball out of his hand. So I think when you take away what he did this last outing, yes, the strike throwing metrics were better, but I think his balls have to become more competitive to where he can add to those strikes that are in the zone with some swing and miss, because balls are just teetering on the borderline of the zone. Right now, it's either a strike or it's a ball out of hand, and his balls aren't competitive enough and coming out of his hand. And then also, I think he needs to do a little bit better at holding runners. He has that big leg kick you see there. So I think overall strike throwing metrics 1, and then the balls need to be more competitive. They need to be closer to the zone to where they might get a lot more chase than what he's getting now. And then I think he needs to hold runners a little bit better. So I think those are the 3 things we need to watch for Ronan Cop moving forward. Moving now to the AA level with the Tulsa Drillers, ladies and gentlemen, Patrick Copen again. This guy has been awesome in his last outing over the weekend. Patrick Copen, the big right-hander out of Ohio who went to Marshall University, through 6 1/3 innings. He gave up just 1 hit, no runs, 9 strikeouts, and just 3 walks. The 9 Ks is a high for Patrick Copen at the AA level, not a career high, but a high at the AA level. And the only hit he gave up was to the 3rd hitter of the game. So from that point on, after the 3rd hit of the game, no more hits. He also struck out 8 of the 9 hitters in the Frisco lineup. So of the 9 hitters that were in the lineup, he struck out 8 of those individual persons, and he just didn't give up much hard contact at all. Matter of fact, he got the dub to go 3-0, and ironically, it's his 2nd outing this year that he's gone exactly 6.1 innings, talking about this heater he's on. 2nd outing of the year that Patrick Copen has gone exactly 6.1 innings. He's given up exactly 1 hit and struck out exactly 9 hitters. So 2 identical outings of 6.1 innings, just 1 hit and 9 strikeouts. So he did that a couple of starts ago on April 10th. ERA for Patrick Copen down to 1.23. His average against is just 1.49. The whip is just 1.05, and he has 31 strikeouts in 22 innings. As a starter, 31 strikeouts in 22 innings as a starter. The cutter looked great for Patrick Copen, especially to lefties, where he got underneath their swings. No doubt about that. That cutter to lefties is really good for him. Fastball, as always, very explosive. He recorded 4 strikeouts with his fastball. His breaking ball had great depth, and he also landed his change for strike 1, man. When Patrick Copen can steal right there, see that changeup? When he can steal some changeups for strike 1, it is absolutely adios, no doubt about it, for the hitters, because he is just really, really, really explosive. When he adds the execution and he adds the controlling counts piece to that, that really takes him to the next level. And this is Cam Day, and I'm telling you, I keep telling you, put this young man in your Rolodex. Another scoreless outing on Friday for the Utah Ute, the young man who grew up in Utah. So another scoreless outing for the AA Tulsa Drillers. 2nd scoreless outing in a row. ERA of 3 for Cam Day. His stuff, that metrically, it's just absolutely dirty. 8 outings for Cam Day. 6 of them have been scoreless. Then his worst outing has just been 2 runs. Here's the deal for a guy like Cam Day. His stuff is so good that his grit outings are going to be very explosive. His good outings are going to be very impressive. Here's what a guy like Cam Day has to do, like Alex Makarowicz, guys like that, Ronaldo Yeen, that are so explosive. The bad outings can't turn into snowballs. They just can't turn into 5-6 run, just kind of complete blow-ups. So like Justin Robleski's done, the bad outings need to be 2 runs, not 6, right? That's, to me, that shows the execution piece is increasing, and that's what Cam Day has done so far this year. The worst outing he's had is just 2 runs. So his ceiling obviously has always been very high. The goal is to raise the floor. That's exactly what he has done this year, to combine with the incredibly explosive stuff. So gotta love where right now Cam Day is at. The execution is starting to catch up with the incredibly good stuff. So I really like where he's at. So keep an eye on Cam Day, no doubt about it. And we're going to move now down to the high A level and Great Lakes. And I want to bring your attention the start of the old Mississippi State Bulldog, Brooks Auger. Brooks Auger on the board for 2026. 2 innings pitch. It was an opener for Auger. He'll get into the 5 or 6 inning. See, he's not an opener. He is a starter. He'll get into the 5 or 6 inning starts as the season goes on. But so far early on, 2 innings, 3 hits, no runs, 5 strikeouts, 1 walk. He worked around some traffic. He did have some traffic. That just goes to show you how good he is in those crisis moments. And also, he did a good job of holding on runners. And how about this? For Brooks Auger, the fastball touched 97. And for the first outing of the year, that's an incredible metric to hit 97 first time out. Very good cutter that stays off of barrels. He throws it in the zone a lot. A very plus changeup. Also a slider and a curveball. There's that big curveball there. So his stuff definitely is powerful enough to get strikeouts, but he also has enough just kind of late movement stuff to miss barrels, to create soft contact. So he has the ability to get strikeouts when he needs. He also has the ability to be efficient as he needs to, because he's diversified enough with enough pitches and he executes them well enough. So definitely a starter type guy in Brooks Auger. He had a really, really nice outing and a nice start for the High A Great Lakes in his last time out. So keep an eye on him. And another guy that you really, Austin has been saying this for quite a while now, but just absolutely direct your attention to one Mr. Davis Chastain. I have seen this young man pitch way too many times in college at Georgia against Oklahoma State. Look at that bomb. And he also has a big fastball that has a lot of movement. And he came in and just absolutely dominated. He's dominated the entire year, as a matter of fact. And, he gets a lot of swing and miss. There's very few pitchers. When you just look at his stuff, you're like, But then you look at his statistics, and he's one of the best pitchers at getting swing and miss in all the game, right? So 17 strikeouts in 10.1 innings so far for Davis Chastain. That's not the most impressive part of what he's done. We've always known he can strike guys out. How about the average against just 139? We've known he was going to be hard to hit too. The whip is just 068, and he just is not walking very many people either. That's the big deal with him, is that not only can he record strikeouts, but he can also do it while staying in the strike zone and not walking a whole lot of guys. So that, to me, is the most exciting part about Davis Chastain, is that, yes, he has explosive stuff. Yes, he can gather a ton of swing and miss with that big breaking ball there and the good fastball that moves quite a bit, but he can also execute, and that kind of puts him ahead of a lot of those power arms that record a lot of strikeouts in the Dodger system, because a lot of times the sacrifice is the execution, not for Davis Chastain. And Eduardo Quintero had his second 3-hit game on Sunday, third multi-hit game of the year. Let's hope this is the starter. You see that average right there for Quintero right there, 139. Doesn't like cold weather. I'll put it to you that way, as simply as I can. Eduardo Quintero, so far in his career, has not liked cold weather, but we know that Quintero is very talented. Of course, this home run did come off a position player in a one-run game. How about that? Having to throw a position player in a one-run game. That really sucks. But, hey, what Eduardo Quintero really needs to do is that he just needs to not even think about statistics for about a month. He needs to get about 3 or 4 games in a row of straight running barrels. He needs to just kind of get some confidence from that perspective, and then he needs to just continue on with the season And, there's a beginning, middle, and end, and just get hot. And then at the end of the year, he won't even remember the type of start that he had. So I wanted to bring up Eduardo Quintero, who had a good day on Sunday, and, just kind of mention the slow start that he's off to, but also in a light of which, hey, hopefully he's coming out of it. And as he does, he will get hot, and hopefully by the end of it, we will not even remember the start that he had. Not sure there's a hit tool out there that I like better than Charles Davlin. I love the hit tool. Hey, we talked about in our show today with Coach Holt, thinking middle of the field. That gives you that margin for error for timing. If you think middle, then if you're a little bit late, you go to left center. If you're a little bit early, you go to right center. If you're way late, you go the opposite field. And if you're way early, you go down the pull side line, right? And then also the big part of the field is where the most amount of room is on a baseball field. So I love the middle of the field approach of Charles Davlin. I love the flat path to the baseball. The Dodgers, despite what people want to say, they teach a flat path to the ball. And they teach hit the ball to the middle of the field, despite, again, what other people might say. So Charles Davlin has two things, that Freddie Freeman effect of using the opposite field gap / the big part of the field, getting flat to the baseball, at least in terms of the path of his hands. And because of that, I think he might be the most complete hitter in the entire system. So I love the hit tool of Charles Davlin, no doubt about it. And the second guy in the system that has that type of profile in terms of the hit tool that I absolutely love to watch hit is Mike Serota. Mike Serota hit his second home run of 2026 over the weekend, a shot to left center. He is great at doing that right there. Hitting the ball to right center, very much so a line drive approach. Matter of fact, his home run over the weekend definitely was a line drive that got elevated. Serota had 2 hits, raised his average to 300 on the year, OPS of 990. So a good start to Mike Serota to 2026. And Serota has hits in 11 of his 12 games, and he is 5 for his last 10. So a good start for Mike Serota, no doubt about that. And we're going to finish up with the Ontario Tower Buzzers at the low A level, and this is super, super talented. Joendry Vargas, boy, this team, Chase Harlan and all these guys, and Emil Morales, Joendry Vargas, AJ Soldier, who we're going to talk about here in a minute. This is a group that can absolutely stroke. Joendry Vargas hit the first pitch. He went Ricky Henderson all over Ricky Henderson. He went Ricky Henderson all over the San Jose Giants. First pitch of the game, he hit for a home run to get the Tower Buzzers off to a great start on Sunday. He also added a bases-loaded double. Look at that beautiful short swing there. Super talented young man for Joendry Vargas. Loves to compete. He also loves to swing at the first pitch. He swings at the first pitch probably more than anybody on the Tower Buzzers team, maybe more than anybody in the California League. He loves that first pitch, and he's hitting 279, Joendry Vargas is. 279 OPS of 879, and he has hits in 6 games in a row. So Joendry Vargas off to a good start. It's great to see him, the talented shortstop prospect, healthy. We didn't get to see enough of him last year, no doubt. So good to see him healthy. And a young man that was actually drafted last summer, AJ Soldier, had a multi-hit game on, I believe it was Saturday, 4th of his season so far. Love the way. Look how he stays inside that ball. AJ Soldier was drafted, I believe, in the 15th round last year out of Seton Hall. 22 years old, good athlete, outfield type. Loves taking the ball the other way. Stays inside the ball. He's a plus outfielder, and so he has a very good chance of becoming a very good player because he has a very complete set of tools. One of those guys that kind of does everything really, really well. So I wanted to bring your attention to AJ Soldier, and that's going to bring us to the end of Dodgers Daily Down the Farm. Thank you so much for tuning in. I love all you Dodgers dogs. You Dodgers dogs are the absolute best. And as always, never forget, it's a great day to be a Dodger.